Tough Resh Lamed Aleph. Tough Lamed Aleph.
Tough Lamed Aleph.
Okay, we're gonna try to do some cover some ground. Tchila salar ba'asar b'nisan botim v'sachometz la'or haner b'churim v'zdokim b'chol mokom shederech lahachnes sham chometz. I'm going to start with a practical question. Where do you have to check for chometz?
Where any place you live, for sure there is not chometz.
Whoa, I don't know what you said, but it was way too complicated for me.
Any place you live, for sure there is not chometz, you don't have to check. If you know for sure you never put chometz in the cupboard.
I don't know. How would you know for sure?
Because you know this, you've never put any. I
would like to adjust what you said. We have no reason to suspect. No. That's not what you said.
Right, there is right.
You're saying that you know
you
as a
don't
matter of
have
fact.
it. As far as you know, you never put chometz in the cupboard. You have no reason to.
No, that way you'd have to check.
Auto club.
That place you'd have to check. He said a place that you don't recall the airport their chometz.
Right.
You'd have to check that place. A place where one wouldn't put chometz there, you don't have to check. That's not the same thing as you said.
Right, that includes right. So that the second one includes the first one. The first one doesn't include the second one.
You wouldn't or you couldn't?
Not that you. I know it's. In other words, let's use a simple thing. One of the differences between Litvaks and Chassidim is in esoteric things. A Chassid would never bring food into the bathroom. That's like that just wouldn't happen. What? There's no reason you can't bring food into the bathroom. A Litvak probably doesn't even know you're not allowed to bring food into the bathroom. I don't know if I know you're not allowed to put food in the bathroom. No, I'm not discussing whether you're allowed or not, right? But a Litvak would theoretically have to check his bathroom for chometz. A Chassid wouldn't have to check his bathroom for chometz.
His kids might throw out wrappers.
Each one will check the shampoos though.
Well, that's it. Now, well, I'll just tell you something, which is, if a Chassid were here, and he would ask me, do I have to check my bathroom for chometz? I would ask him two questions. Is your hamper in the bathroom? And do you have kids? No, it's right. All those rules are adjustable to the reality that a person lives in, right? So a place where a person would never eat chometz and has like makbid not to bring chometz there, so then it becomes a place which ein machnisim bo chometz. A place where I don't recall that I ever brought chometz there doesn't make it into makom she'ein machnisim bo chometz. Just because I don't remember that I did it, I don't usually take a sandwich to work, so I have no reason to check my attaché case.
No.
What does no mean?
Of course you have to check it.
Why?
It's a very normal place where people put it.
I don't recall ever putting chometz in there.
A person never takes food to work.
That would be different.
So no. We already made three different variations of the same scenario, right? There's some people that would never put food into that attaché case.
In that case,
That's
the
ikaron. Yeah, then you don't have to check it.
Laptop bag doesn't have.
I don't know. Basically, I'm not a bookie in laptop bags.
No,
I'm not
a guy
going.
who lets say, my laptop bag, but
Fine. You don't have to check it for chometz. So this is a very important. I would like to say something, and please, when you go home, tell this to your wife on your way out the door. Don't say this to her on your way in. All of the shelves on the second level of the Aron Begadim do not have to be checked for chometz.
if you don't have
Kids can't get it.
If you don't have kids.
No,
you don't have
kids can't
kids.
get it.
No, my kids can.
Well, it depends. In my house, I told my wife that you don't have to check on top of the swarm shanks. And Vayhi Hayoim, one day after Purim, I came into my kid's bedroom and I saw one of my kids squirrel down from the top of the swarm shank. And when he scampered out of the room, I took a chair to see what was up there. He came down like, swarm shank shelves are exactly the right size for different steps in the ladder, you understand? And on top of the swarm shank, I found all the stolen shalach manis, chometz that was there, a few pieces of jewelry, things that were of interest. No, not because of other household things that were of interest. That were all stashed away in this wonderful place. So if you have children like those, so then the halacha changes, right? Now that I would still feel comfortable to say that you don't have to check the top of storm strikes. For most people, I believe that that's true. Okay. I'm behind. I don't understand what you're saying.
Kids throw food everywhere.
Let's say, let's even. I'm willing to go with the flow, and therefore, why do I have to check for chametz? What?
It's a possible place for chametz. That's what the Rav was saying.
And 1 second, and that everybody has said somewhere between a third and a half of a statement. Bayra by matzeh, and therefore what?
You might come to eat it.
How now? If my kid, let's turn around right now. You see this swarm shank over here? There is no kickboard on the bottom of the swarm shank. Okay, so let's say my kid, there was a aufruf over here, and they threw waffle in, and a waffle got kicked underneath there. Would I be able to buy a matzeh?
No. Can't reach it.
I can't reach it. I could stick a hanger in. What?
Not easily.
No one is going to mistakenly come.
So 1 second. Now there are two things, and we're going to discuss this in different variations. There's a subject by Rabbi Matzeh, and there's a chashashem yavul oichloi. There are two different subjects that have to be discussed when we're speaking about chametz.
Now, have to elucidate how the second one.
You have to remember which one was the second one.
The second one about that won't come out like to eat.
I've
I've always been troubled by how it applies today in the kind of society we live in.
I will give you the classic example. You may be annoyed at my example, but it's probably not the first time. Okay? There are people who I'm willing to say that in the average household there are stuck onto the birchonim pieces of chametz. Okay? Nobody plans on eating any of them. What can happen is that somebody would take out a birchon and something's stuck on there and they'd scrape it off and go like that. Right? That could happen.
By accident,
What?
get on your Shabbos table.
Yeah, and then
fall off a little bit.
and then you're gonna go. But these are things. Those are Shema Yavul Ochloi issues. That has nothing to do with Bayir Abayi Matzeh. You're not interested in that crumb. You don't need to sell it. That crumb is batul mavutul, but it doesn't mean you're not going to eat it. Very practical case. What? Very simple. Okay, two different things. Now, what do you do with your extra time? This has always been bothering you, and now you have this extra time.
I never, to be honest, I never thought of that way. But at least anyway, I think we always put away the berkonim that we use the rest of the year. We sell them with the chometz.
Why? There's no, in all of your berkonim together, there's no kazayas.
Because you're not going to bring your own
Because you
berkonim
might
with
have
crumbs
to-
and
yeah,
lechem on it to your matzah
We're
table.
using the same ones we use.
You don't feel
around
comfortable Why not?
Come to eat a crumb.
because you may come to
You're
eat
not
it.
gonna own it. You're not coming.
No,
Right.
you're not going to bring your beer cone full of it.
Why not?
Because it doesn't go with matzah.
Well, if you would bring it, then it would go.
No.
Oh, we have our gutters. We don't need those.
That's it.
I was thinking about, someone finding a soup not on the floor and then they pick it up and put it into their mouth. Maybe like a Down syndrome kid would do that, but a normal person is not going to do that.
That's true. That's true. So I know, but I gave you an example, okay? Now, so where do you have to check? You have to check a place where you have reason to suspect that there could be chometz there. It's a place that's not mufka me'arayon to put chometz there. That's what you have to do. A place which is mufka. In other words, in our if your wife is on a diet, so then she may hide a chocolate bar in her clothing drawer, right? Right? But most people don't put food in their clothing closet.
Money maybe, but food no. They
Okay.
just want to keep it out of the richer kids, and they will look in the closet.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. So where do you have to now? Okay, I'm just saying. So as far from my point of view, an adult home, there's no reason to check your closet for chametz. Your clothing closet for chametz. I did not say anything about the clothing. I said the closet. I didn't say you shouldn't do spring cleaning. It's a wonderful thing. Minig is sold in. That's very important. But it has nothing to do with the chash chametz. There are some people who maybe will have their snacks that they eat in by the night table. I didn't say, I'm not going to dictate you how you run your life. This is not a communist country, not yet, and therefore will allow you to do. But any place where you have no reason to be choishish, you don't have to be bedikas. A place where you have to be choishish, and I'm giving you the Gemara's example. A person has a machson, and this is very relevant. People have machsanim, and they're not in their apartment; they're outside their apartment. And so they don't keep any chametz there, so they ask me, do I have to check it for chametz? I said to Mefurish Mishnah that you have to check it for chametz. The martef.
Wouldn't it depend on if you know in the middle of a meal you would never go to kill?
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what those words
In the
mean.
middle of a meal, I would never go to my mouth.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
If I would ask you, could you make a shvona sefer Torah never happen?
I would try.
No, you know, you never wait.
I didn't ask you if you would. I said if you said could you. What would you say?
Almost. Let's say. You don't think.
Just 1 second. Yes or no? I don't.
I'm not taking shvur on a sefer Torah. So
I said, could
that's
you?
An example for me.
No.
I'm sure as anything. In the middle of a meal, I'll give you the key maybe and let you to go to my machson. But in the middle of a meal, I'm not going to my machson.
It's not the martef anyway. Martef is you send a guy every meal to get the wine. This is
Yeah, but the bottom line is a person can go there for pita biyadoi.
No.
So,
So it depends on your. I'm
But
not
it could depend. I mean, you can have a shed that.
100%. But as I said, it has to be a place that it's not in your realm that it could have happened. Okay, that's called a makom she'ein machnisim by chometz. And there are many times people say that I don't go there, but if they have a situation that you needed to get something, then you would go there. Then it becomes a makom she'ein machnisim by chometz. You just don't usually bring it. That's all. There's a very big difference between the two of them. People have ikronot that I don't bring chametz into your. If that's a different story. But that's not because of its usage. It's because of, and I'll just make this clear. If it wouldn't be that there was such a thing as Pesach, would you be vade that there was nothing there? A very simple question. If you're telling me that because it's Pesach and I don't want to be bedikas, so therefore I have a cognizant awareness and I don't do it, so I'm asking, then you don't have to check it. But just because that I wouldn't do that. Do you know how many times I had this twice in Dinei Torah, where people said that Reuven said to me this, and Shimon said that's not what he said this. And Shimon said, I said to him this. He said, and I said, could you please send me all your email conversations? And it's all there. They said it all. What they denied saying, they supplied me with the emails. They didn't believe it. They said it themselves. Okay? Because that's called milsa de lo rami inish anavshein lav adaite. It's a klal. What you don't have reason to have to think about, even if you did it, you didn't think about it, it doesn't register. That's all. So a person says, I don't do it because I don't want to check it for chometz. I believe you.
It's not butter.
Huh?
Martif isn't butter. It's not butter. He's been
But-
butter is chometz. He's not.
So a second. Any place that a person has chometz, you could ask that question on. What about your dining room, your kitchen?
You might have to eat, that's a problem.
What?
He knows he's not going to go into his martif and eat on.
Okay, so then there's a question though. Where the Gemara asked this question, but the Gemara says that maybe you'll be chasalav. Maybe be chasalav. So but the question is a good question. That the question is the Gemara deals with that issue. If a person was bittul would be 100% valid, and he would really mean it, and we wouldn't be concerned, you wouldn't have to do bedikas chometz possibly. But this is depends on the Chazanish and the other Pesach Highland Gemara and Daf Hey. Okay. Anyways,
I always wondered, is there any possibility, like gutters from previous years that we've used, little crumbs of matzah get caught in their gutters and maybe water falls on them? There's no possibility that could ever become chometz.
everything is possible, but it's usually called OCD.
That's OCD.
There's no reason to assume that it happened. Is there any reason to assume that it happened? Now I'll tell you something more. Most people here look like they're Litvaks. If it went into the ocean, it still couldn't become chametz. It would only be gebrocks, not more than that. Okay? But there's no reason to be chayshish, and the chashash, even if it did happen, is very, very far out. Anyways, all right. So let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Tchilas appears takef achar tzeisak echavim sheyesh adayin ktsas meor hayoim roi lahaschal livdoik. You're supposed to start as soon as possible. Kedei shelo yisrashel oy shelo yishkach. Make sure it's done. You have to also do bittul. Now, umin Torah, and here's the part which we alluded to. Umin Torah ba'echad me'am sagi, either bittul or bedika. Dikeshemesh batum libo mafkiroi shuv eino shaloi ve'eino oiver alav. If you would do that, then you're finished with it. For kol sheken kisheboitko machapes acharav u'mavar min ha'olam, that you don't have to worry about. Ela shechazal hechmiru d'lo sagi be'echad mehem, ela b'shneim dafka. You need to have both of them. Lefi shechaser she'achar she'bitel toi b'machshava shel b'nei adam u'b'deiaseihem, in their stalwartness, ula yera be'eni adam sheyesh lo chometz ba'ad kama alafim l'hafkir. Maybe it's an expensive piece of chometz. Even though he said it, mikol makom beliboy lo ken yechoshev v'lo yivatlenu b'leiv shalem. V'arei oiver b'bal yiroi sharei lo hoitziyo mibeisai v'yoid shemitoch sherogilim boy kol hashana im yiyeh b'beisai v'reshusai. If it's around gazrina sheyishkach v'yovolecho, we're afraid the person may eat it. V'lchein tiknu chazal shav bi shemavatel lo sagi al tzorch livdoik u'levarim min oilom mikol makom tzorch levatel gam kein. Why? Sham lo yudak yofa. Maybe he didn't do a good job. V'yimtza chometz v'pesach v'yavor olav. So you do both things. You do bittul and you do bedika. L'or haner You have to look in places that are called chur misdokim. And daylight is not enough for this, because it doesn't get into those nooks and crannies. It highlights the place where it's lighting more than it does in the daytime, because the light around it is strong, so it doesn't give you that concentrated look. Whereas at night, when the around area is darkened, so it highlights what you're looking at. It's people also found at home. Now, I just would like to mention something, which is a question that the times have changed the approach to this question. In the olden times, people knew how to use candles. I do not know how to use a candle. What?
It doesn't get into the...
Well, I don't know how to, it's a low vedli. It's not. Right? No, I'm telling you, I'm not saying. I also don't know how to use a quill. Right? There's a lot of things I don't know how to do that people used to know how to do. Right? So people were proficient at using a candle and not burning the house down. Nowadays, people
burn the house down.
What?
Unfortunately, they did burn the house down.
Who's the they who burnt the house down?
It's quite a few.
What? Quite a few.
Let's say 5%. Maybe.
Shtus v'hevel. Shtus v'hevel. There's no 5%, and more houses get burnt down by the kids playing bedikas chometz than by the parents making bedikas chometz. Unfortunately, and that has happened.
It's not from the kids, but the kids are participating.
A person has to be able to make bedikas chometz. Now, if a person is not comfortable making it with a candle, so he should still make bedikas chometz. He should use a flashlight or a light. Now, it used to be that flashlights and lights were incandescent. To this group, I think I don't have to explain what incandescent means. In 20 years, I'm going to have to bring in a sample. What? Yeah, well, you get from the Tikia, you get it from the car that passed me on my way here. Osfanim. Yeah. Anyways, the Gemara learns ner miner from Avugin. It's a whole story, and it seems that it's really supposed to be a fire. Our LED lights are not like a incandescent light at all. All it is a piece of aluminum that is warmed. It's not heated, and the heat, by the way, on a LED light fixture is not from the light at all. It's from the transformer. It's nothing to do with the strip itself. Is cold. It's that heavy box that costs a lot of money, not the strip. That's that's where the heat gets generated, and it has no shaykhis to being a fire, and therefore there are those that say that it's not, you're not makayim the b'or haner. The others will say that you can do it. So vada, if a person can't do it with a candle, he should do it with that, or at least you should try to do a little bit with a candle. But the bottom line is, the ikar is you get it done. That's
check for the chometz.
Yeah. Now I just would like to say, as a where is it that you're checking, which we're going to see, also will have to shed light, no pun intended, on exactly how you're supposed to be being bedikas. Okay, so you're supposed to do it b'or haner. Says the next halacha. What? Dalit. Shedach la'achnis lav davka v'av shein dech la'achnis sham chometz rak mokom shemishtamshim sham leprokim b'chometz. Doesn't have to be that's its normal usage to put chometz in there. It's just a place which you sometimes can put chometz into there. Chashem Hashem hichnis sham chometz v'lav adaitei. Okay, no, it could be. And this is, I'll just use an example. People don't bring chametz into their machson, but let's say they have a box, they got a shipment or something, so they're storing that box of stuff there, and they don't consider it chametz. Because when you say chametz, you're talking about your candy bar that you're eating when you're going someplace. But when you get a box of chametz, you don't think of that as chametz, you think of that as dry goods, and you still have to check for chametz. Maybe you have a delivery there. All right? All right.
So back up to this point, we've just been discussing bedika and bittul. The fact of, mechira, he mentions it later on in another section, or you just...
Another section. Another section. That's
okay.
You have to wait a long time. Okay?
Well, I just wonder why he didn't mention it also at this stage. Like,
There's no halacha of mechira. Mechira is for wimps.
Minhag Israel, Cody Shay.
Huh?
Minhag Israel, Cody Shay. Become the minhag.
Perhaps. In other words, there are many people who they have no reason to sell anything because they don't have anything. I urge people to sell the chametz even though they don't think they have any, because my experience is that they do have. And when they had in mind to be mevatel all the chometz, they didn't have those things in mind. But your grandfather's times, they knew what they possessed. Your grandfather did not have stored up food for months that he didn't know what it was made out of. He had raw things that he knew. We should live in a totally different world than at that time. All right. Sif Beis. Yizar kol adam shelo yaschil shum melacha v'lo yochal ad sheyivdek. First thing is you have to do bedika. V'afilu yeis kavua lilmoid lo yilmoid ad sheyivdek. It precedes a seder kavua. This doesn't go too well with the mashkichim. Okay, v'im hischil lilmoid mibod yom ein tzarich lahafsek. V'yesh amru shetzarich lahafsek v'chein nirali ikar. Bedikas chametz has to be done right away, and you close your Gemara, so to speak, in order to do this. Says the Mishnah Berurah, "V'afilu chatzi shel kohen zman asa the mishchei, like all halachas that a half hour beforehand is already called the time. The same time now they come into merchatz. The Mishnah shachach lived up halayla. Asa bayom called dvarim ad sheyivdek. If this happens in the morning, again, you have to do it before you do anything else. Lo yechal v'tima ba'al mashari v'haino pas kabeitza v'lo yoser operes afilu harbe k'mo shikoso. Excuse me, b'sim reish lat mebez v'ayim v'alocha the peres harbe ein muter rak b'chatzi shal kodem habedika ba'al mishagia zman habedika gam aydei peres ein nochol l'nishos harbe. Kids, you got to do it right away. Okay, we're not going to get involved in the pratim of that. V'gam b'zeh yesh oisim af b'chatzi shal b'koydem the mosalim shruchei harbe. Get a load of that. In the olden times, the chosher guy starts to learn, he's going to get carried away and continue learning. Huh? Shver halacha. Shver halacha. Okay. V'moshe bikesh echad she'askireno k'sheyavo azman. V'yesh matin ligmo layin b'limon koydem v'rak b'giya zman she'tei sekhavim aser v'af la'oisrim ein aser ela b'loy mi'beveisai. But alumet shir halacha beis hamedrash achar atfila mutter. Why? The haloi yamurchuk b'varei level beveisai. We can welcome, and you remember when you go home. Av zeh ein mutter ela b'loy mi'beloy pilpul. So it seems that they had Yetzaharas that today are
before you daven.
Yeah. Actually, Yivdak. Now again, this you have to remember. In Europe, most people did not daven Ma'ariv on time. They daven Ma'ariv early. What? Yeah. Yispalo mikaiden the Torah likapsel macharkach. Okay, v'gam ein lochosh kol kach sheyishkach livdoik. Sharei tefillah hi davar kavua ve'en shaykh bo shem yimoshech uv'amispal v'beisoi yiten la'acher livdoik v'hu yispalo. You should have somebody else do it on time, and you yourself should be mispal. Ta'ideze yikayim shneim bizmanum. You do it in the right time. V'yuleka acha yispal tchila ochein. Im hu rogel yispal la'olam b'yechidi yivdoik tchila. If you always daven by yourself, you should make the bedika first. The kiwan derogel b'kach lechashiron kol kach shem yishkach to daven. V'achol kiyakin kosid la'ol yispal tchila the Torah she'ena Torah koidem. Now, why is it that the other poskim don't say Torah she'ena Torah koidem? The answer is very simple, because this is extremely time sensitive. It's worse than other halachas which are not so time sensitive. Is this we want you to do this in the right time exactly? All right. I think so, yeah, but not here. Okay. From hischel le'omad v'huadin shar malachas v'ibadiyam v'zman hater v'lachein ein tzarich lahafsik v'afilu kriyas shema shi daraisa kaim olam b'sim kavanem v'hischel b'hater ein o mafsik from hischel b'zman ha'isr the kuli yama poisik. If you started doing malacha or learning when you're already supposed to be doing the bedika, you have to stop. The bedikas chometz have a daraisa calls man shaloi bitel, and you only do the bitel afterwards. Can you eat what? Now this is a shtickle of chiddush, because it's not going to end up a deraisa. When a person does bedikas chometz, okay, I'm right now in the tally sheet in Shemayim. Okay, person does bedikas chometz, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him a V. That V goes into the V. They did a minig. A V he did a drabonon. A V he did a deraisa. Where does he get a V? In which box? Deraisa. Then he does bittul. So now we erase the V and we put it into the. I don't know what that means.
Put it on top of the deraisa. Another layer.
No, that doesn't become. If he did one, then it becomes. So he did two deraisas? That's what you're suggesting?
No, the Rabbanan on top of the deraisa.
The bittul covers anything even in bedika. Everything. Just in
the
case
rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. I have no idea what you just said.
The bittul covers anything I might have missed in my bedika. My bedika
we're not speaking about OCD people right now. A person comes to Shemayim. He did bedika and he did bittul. Did he?
Separate mitzvahs. One is a bedika to check.
I don't mind you answering the question, but first hear the question.
Okay.
Which one is a deraisa? Which one is a rabbanon? Are they both deraisa? Both rabbanon?
Neither. Why is it not a hechsher mitzvah?
Well, I gave you four choices. You can't say neither.
Why is it not a hechsher mitzvah? It's only on the way to do bittul. Why is it a mitzvah?
That's not what it says. The Mishnah Berurah says the bedikas chometz have a deraisa calls man shaloi bitel.
So I don't quite understand that.
Okay, that's why I stopped over here. So we shall understand that.
What did you say? You have to do one or the other.
Midoraisa.
Right. So if you did one, then the second one you don't have to do anymore.
Midoraisa.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if a person he ended up that he did the second one, so the first one still remains deraisa as far as being teicha something else. No, it's tomorrow morning. Whatever it is I'm doing, I'm planning to go to sleep tonight, right? I'm going to sleep tonight. Tomorrow morning I'm going to make bittul, and it come out that my bedika was only necessary midrabanan.
There's a stopgap case.
So that's just pointing out the chiddush that's saying over here. We treat bedikas chometz as a deraisa, even though it may not really have to have been a deraisa. Because I'm going to make bittul, and then it will make it possibly into drabanan.
that sense here and then now. It's a
How does it
deraisa.
do that on my prayer?
It's true, it's a deraisa.
When you did it, there was a derisa. You did a derisa.
Yeah.
You missed the point.
I guess so. But
No, you missed the point. The question over here is that we're giving this precedence over something else because it's a deraisa. It's not a vadai deraisa. If I didn't do it, and I did bittul tomorrow, that's good enough. It's not my only option for the deraisa. It's a chidush to say that you give it the status of a deraisa if it doesn't have to be that it was a deraisa. This mitzvah by nature does not have to be a deraisa.
I could just opt out and do a bittul, or
Correct.
Or I plan to do it tomorrow. But
Right.
it's in the here and now. That's what I was
So
pointing out. That's
Right.
in the here and now.
That's enough.
Deraisa sound ignorant, but I thought the only two ways of dealing with Chometz is bittul or ruining it. So bedika is neither of those two.
Well,
It's a
bedika.
hefsher.
And
It's a
none left,
hefsher.
then you don't have to
What?
do
You're
those.
checking so that you can either do bittul or can check or can burn it or get rid of it. But bedika itself is not. That's not why it's a mitzvah.
Okay.
It's a hefsher mitzvah.
Okay. Okay.
The price is the beer. If it
Well-
doesn't, nothing but beer, I wait till the morning of the 14th, and I go ahead and I burn my
I would like to ask you something very simple. What are you being mavar?
whatever I put in the fire.
That which you found.
it's 10 pieces.
That's why I say I'll be your Chometz, the bedikas, to get to the beer.
And you rule it.
No. It's that yes, what you're saying is true, but this is you're being mavar supposedly all the chametz that you have. So you're trying to make sure that you have no chametz, and that's why you do a what you call it. I would just like to ask you a question. Now, I'm not sure if my question is going to pain you or going to make you smile. I'm not sure. Quiz question. Before you do bedikas chametz, you make a bracha. What bracha do you make?
Biur Chometz.
The beer.
Bedikas.
No, beer.
Should be I'll bedikas Chometz.
But what bracha what do you make?
Beer.
Biur chametz.
Beer.
This is a problem. Why? So what's the answer to that question?
It's all part of the process.
So
That's correct.
that's why it's a hefsher
That's
mitzvah.
no,
No.
it's not a hechsher mitzvah. When I'm taking out my stuff to the sreifa, I'm involved in a hechsher mitzvah, or I'm doing the mitzvah beer.
No, that's already.
So what I'm right now taking out the stuff from the nooks and crannies that it's in. That's what I'm doing.
It's the initial process of.
There's the process.
Biur bittul.
There's a process of the beer. In order to beer, you have to get rid of the chametz that you have. So first you got to find out where you have it.
Even for bittul, you have to know where you're having to be.
No, I don't have to know where I have it. I said wherever it is, it's bottle. I don't have to know where.
Since we need both conditions. then-
We want to take care. We want to
Right.
have
The
both.
rice, if you were really mavatal properly, then it will be sufficient.
That'll be sufficient. Right, exactly. But the Maisa, so they're saying this that you're doing bittul, beer, or bedika, it doesn't have to be a deraisa, and yet we're giving it the status of a deraisa to say that you have to stop because it's a deraisa, even though possibly it came out.
Even if it's a darabana, it can be as well.
But that's not what the Mishnah Berurah says. The Mishnah Berurah says the reason why we tell you to stop what you're doing is because it's a deraisa. So if I were to ask you, is bedika a deraisa or not? This is a quiz question. Is bedika a deraisa or not? I would say it depends what ended up happening.
What is the next step? Undo the. That's what I'm. Let's say.
I didn't say it has to undo it, but does it mean that it gives it the status of a deraisa that tells you that you have to stop? They have to stop doing what you're doing
If I didn't yet do my bittul, why would? Why
because I'm going to do bittul tomorrow anyways. Just like I could do this deraisa tomorrow.
But right now you have to do. You have to.
So that's the question. Does it have the din of a deraisa? That's the question. I don't have a kasha. If it was said the other way around, I would also ask the question the opposite way. It's not muchach that it has to be that way.
I'm missing.
It's mashma
Why not?
that Louis that he would be able to do bittul before.
For some reason,
If he did bittul before, then he would not have to stop. Correct.
And he wouldn't be doing anything else.
No, he would continue to. Right. So, but we're giving it the status, even though this ain't the only way to do it, and it's not muchach, you miss out your deraisa. Your deraisa, you will end up possibly being makayim in a different way. But still, this is what came your way right now, so we're giving it that status. And it didn't have to be that way. I didn't say it's shver, but this is a chiddush. So I'm going to say, if you have an opportunity to do something, and you could be makayim the deraisa another way, and this came your way, do we look at it as a deraisa drabanan? You have a raya from here. I'm not asking a kasha. I'm pointing out that it's saying a chiddush. This is called a chiddush. It didn't have to be this way. I mean, obviously it did, but I'm saying, but it didn't. One could argue otherwise.
How could you wattle something you don't know about?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm
being mafkir or something, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Can I be mafkir something that I don't know I have?
Yeah. Why not? Well, I'm going to answer your question in a very simple way. I'm saying I don't mean to be, overly emotional. If your life depends on it, you don't care what it is. If it means chorus, so then I don't care what it is. Shaveli. It doesn't make a difference. If a person was going to kill somebody, and he said, give me everything that you own, and you were held like the Monday of Talu B'Zav and Zvini, or Talu B'Zav Yov works, it would be even on things he doesn't know that he has. What's the problem? Your life depends on it, so you takamin it. It doesn't have to be that a person says, Ini, Mini, Mini, Mo. Doesn't have to be that way. But that's good. And you happen to be right. Most people don't mean it, and I'll tell you the truth. If you ask me, the average person, I don't believe really is mavatal chometz. I don't believe it.
Most people are just selling it.
What does that have to do with anything? I said people that say they're mavatal chometz, I don't believe it. That's all. To be mavatal chometz, you have to be a pretty big tzaddik. Person has $50,000 worth of chometz, and he's just mavatal it.
So I'm saying we sell the 50,000.
And what does that have to do with talking about? Also, people in China eat with chopsticks. It's a little kashul.
So they're not mavatal the chopsticks either, but it's still.
What?
It's going to sell, but that's why his bittul isn't really.
So, but then he did not do. Does a person do bittul or not?
He's pretty confident that his chometz is not worth more than 5 shekels, the one he's being mavatal. So
That means that he's not do. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to end off with this yisoid from the Brisker Rav. The Brisker Rav, somebody asked him, why are you so worried you're going to do an avera? So Brisker Rav said, what do you mean? Maybe I'll do an avera. So why are you waiting to do an avera? Why? So Brisker Rav asked him, are you afraid you're going to fall out of your bed at night? So the guy says, no. He said, are you sure? He said, of course not. Why should I fall out of bed at night? So he said, if I would put your bed on top of a pole 500 feet up in the air, would you be able to sleep at night? The guy said, no. I said, why not? He said, I said, I understand. You just said that you're not afraid. The answer is you are afraid. But from falling from your bed to the floor, nishkafalach. To me, doing an avera is the bed that's 500 feet up in the air. That's the only difference between you and me. Neither of us are sure that we're not going to fall out of bed at night.